People that have money problems seem to always have money problems. The more money never solves their problem. They still have the problem. What is it that separates those who seem to get how money works and those who don't? What do you think are the character traits? What's the definition of financial success? What are some of the character traits of those that are doing well with money? Any ideas? Don't all jump at once. Yeah. Saving money. What's your name?
Sam.
Sam. So what do you mean by that? I know it sounds obvious, but when you say saving money, what does that mean?
Spending money on things that you need rather than wants.
Okay. So focusing on needs versus wants and spending money. Yep. Yeah, back there.
Having money work for you.
Okay, and what's your name? Kate. And what do you mean by having money work for you?
I mean by having assets that aren't just your 9-to-5 job, but where you put money into, I don't know, savings or not savings, into like ETFs or like real estate that grows for you.
Right. So getting your money into assets that are producing income or are capital appreciating, and so your wealth is growing. So saving and trimming our expenses, and then also investing for the future and investing in assets that are growing. And then you had one over here. I'm sorry, I didn't.
I think you have to be disciplined.
Okay. And what's your name?
Galina.
Galina. What do you mean by that, Galina?
I think, well, I believe you just have to be smart about it. You have to have a vision. When you receive the money, when you gain the wealth, what are you going to do?
Yeah, great. So you have a plan. You kind of know what you're doing.
You have to plan it all. You have to not just that, but you also have to be emotionally well too, because it's all connected.
Yeah, absolutely. The guys that win the lottery end up going broke, but people that make $20,000 a year their whole life end up millionaires. How does that happen? And so it's these mindsets. It's saving, it's discipline, it's investing in assets, and more. And we're going to talk about that here today. Now, the reason I bring that up is because I didn't get that class on money. I don't know about you, but my parents didn't learn it from their parents. And so when I grew up, I didn't learn about money. I didn't know about 401ks or investing for my future. My family didn't have 401ks. They didn't have IRAs or investment accounts. I didn't know any of it. So I got into my adult life not knowing anything about money. I was really good at making money, but I didn't do anything with it wise. I wasn't investing, I wasn't disciplined, and I wasn't making the right choices. And that's what woke me up, is when I realized I had a problem, and it wasn't just me, it was people all over America, because this class on wealth and how money works and how to compound and double your money, this class was missing from our upbringing, and it shouldn't be. Every student, every person should get the class on wealth and how to grow and accumulate wealth, starting from before they leave the house at age 18. And so that's the class that we've been delivering nationwide, and in little bits and chunks on social media, and also on physical events like this. And so in 2013, we started a statewide, I think it was this was 2015. We started, in 2013, we started researching, doing a statewide financial awareness campaign. And we traveled all over the state doing workshops for different individuals, and also had a lot of companies that sponsored us and helped put this all together. And this is just a sampling of some of those workshops, kind of giving you an idea of what we were doing. And we've been doing workshops like this for about 6 or 7 years now, all over the valley. Okay, so today what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through the 5 steps of wealth, or the 5 rules of wealth, and not only walk you through them, but we're going to dig into a couple of them, which is the budgeting side and also how money works, how we grow wealthy with it. And so you don't have a place to write this down in the form of like a fill in the blank on your forms, but you can write it down if you find some blank space. But rule number 1 is pay yourself first. And that's the first rule of wealth, and that is meaning investing in yourself, giving yourself money out of every single paycheck that you receive. Every dollar that comes your way, part of it gets invested. How much do you think that of wealth that we're gathering should we be putting away for our future? What's a common number? Any ideas? What % of our income? 10%? Yeah. So 10% is a common number. If you make $100,000 a year and you invest $10,000 for your future, that's a common percentage that people use. When I meet with my clients who've amassed wealth faster in life, they've been above 20% in the early years of their life, and they were putting money away as fast as they could. And by getting that money compounding for them sooner, they create more wealth for them down the road. So somewhere between 10 and 20% is a good number. You can always sit down and talk with a financial advisor one-on-one, and they can go through your numbers and help you figure out a plan to get you to the net worth that you want at the end of your life. So if you want to have a $3 million retirement, what does it take to get there? And you can actually build that plan and know exactly how much you need to be putting away. Rule number 2, and so paying yourself first, what we're going to do is take a look at that on the chart here. And we just did how much should we be saving. What I want to do is take a look at this right here. And if you have a goal, and let's say one common goal that we see people say is, I want to have $1 million retirement. I want to grow $1 million between now and the time I retire. And so what we have them do is figure out, okay, if I want to have a $1 million retirement and I'm 30 years old right now, if I subtract 30 from 65, that gives me so many years to accumulate wealth. And on this one right here, I think I'm doing a 30-year-old, so we have a 35 years. So how much do we have to save each year? We can take a look. Savings per year is about $34,000 a year that you have to save in order to reach 1.2 million if you're starting at age 30. So if you're starting at 30 and you want to grow $1 million retirement account, all you have to do is save $34,000 a year. If you divide that by 12, you're looking at about $2,857 a month. And so if you guys start right now saving $2,857 a month, by the time you reach 65, you should have about $1 million. How does that make you feel? Not so good. Some of you are shaking your heads like, wait a minute, what's going on here? This isn't the way I thought this was going to work. Now, unless you have rule number 2 working for you. Any thoughts on what that is? You get your money compounding for you. If you're just saving money in a bank, trying to brute force save up $1 million, you're going to have to start saving about $3,000 a month right now and sticking it in the bank. But if you have the power of compound interest working for you, then your money is working for you. Your money is accumulating interest. That interest is accumulating and it's growing and so on. Now, I know you guys probably know this, but let's take a look at that $1.2 million mark. And let's just talk about the power of compounding. So if I gave you a $100 bill when you were here at age 0, and you just left that $100 bill in a shoebox under your bed until you were 65, how much would it be worth? $100, right? You put $100 in your shoebox when you're 20, you take it out when you're 60 or 65, and you still have $100 there. But the purchasing power is less because of inflation. That's like putting your money in a bank or putting your money in a shoebox or a safe. It's slowly declining to the interest rate or to inflation. Now, what if you compounded this at 7% year over year over year? Any ideas what $100 would turn into by the time you reach 65? So one rule of thumb for compounding your money is the rule of 72. And so if you take the rule of 72, the way that it works is that you divide your interest rate into 72 and it tells you how long it takes your money to double. So if you're earning a 7% interest rate, it'll take you about 10.1 years to double. If you're earning a 10% interest rate, it'll take your money about 7 years to double. And so the higher the interest rate, the faster your money doubles. And so at a 7% interest rate, your money would double about every 10 years. So up here, we're going to put $100 right there in that first square, and then we'll double that going each year. So 100 turns into 200, and then by age 30, 200 turns into 400, or actually we're at age 20 now. Then it turns into 800, 16, 32, 64, and a $100 bill can turn into 12,800 on its own, compounding at 7%. So every $100 you would put away back here would turn into $12,000 down here. And so that's how you really grow your money. And so in your first 20 years of life, 30 years of life, if you can get $10,000 put away, or if your parents put $10,000 for you away when you were born, $10,000 would turn all the way out to 1.28 million by the time you reach 65. And that's all it takes to grow $1 million account is to put $10,000 away when you're born. But if that's the question, why hasn't every parent put $10,000 away for us? Why didn't it happen? Because they didn't get the class, they weren't financially solvent, they couldn't put the $10,000 away, they didn't understand, or they probably would. And so it's up to you to get your money compounding for you. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today. So let's move on. What I want to do on the timeline of your life is take a look at where are you on the timeline of your life. And so where are you right now? And then where are you going to retire? And so most of you right here are somewhere between 20 and 30. So you're going to be down here and you're going to have all this time to compound your money. Let's take a look at that. Now, what can we do about this time right here before wherever we are on the timeline? What can we do for the first 10 years of our life, the first 15, 20 years? Nothing, right? That time's already passed. Whatever we've done already till now is past. So we can learn from the past and we can move towards the future. And so you can make different actions out here in front of you versus what you've done in the past. Now, most of us here in this room are just getting started, so that's great. You have no problems. There's nothing happening. But I meet people in their 50s that are saying, hey, I need to retire, and they haven't done anything yet for their retirement. And so you guys aren't in that boat, thank God. And so what you do is you figure out where are you on that line. You kind of follow along, and that figures out for whatever age you are, how much money you should have saved up. And somehow I ended up on the version here that was for, not for the college. I have a college version of this, and I don't know why all these numbers are different. Sorry, guys. That's my bad. So you're right here, and that's what we just looked at. So let me get through this slide. Okay. Rule number 3 is to protect your investments. And so there's different ways of doing that. One of the major ways of protecting your investments is to create allocations that are more or less conservative. And so you'll have different types of portfolios that you can create on traditional allocations. And a more conservative model will protect your principal best, but it will earn less. A more aggressive allocation will go up and down more, but you'll potentially earn more. So higher risk, higher potential return. And you can also hedge against inflation. That's something that we're going to have to look out for your investments going forward, is how do we stop this inflation that's going to occur? What type of investments can we have that will hedge against inflation? What can we do to hedge against the downturns of the market? What can we do to protect your investments? And as you accumulate wealth, protecting it becomes more and more important. And different types of assets, different types of investments can protect part of your portfolio better than other parts. And so creating a diversified portfolio where part of it is aggressively allocated, part of it is safe, maybe some of it is indexed, and you've got things that are protecting you. And so that's one of the tips right there. And I'm going through this part quick. We're going to get to the budgeting part very quickly here. Maximize safe leverage. We're not talking about leverage right now, but in stock accounts, that's margin. You can use margin to grow your account. In insurance products, you can use leverage that way. Inside of going to a bank to buy a house, that's using leverage when you're using other people's money. You can borrow against assets. Instead of taking profits out of your assets, you can use them as collateral and get loans to buy other assets. Robert Kiyosaki is really big on that, if you know that name. So you don't sell your assets, because then you incur the gains, either short or long-term capital gains. You just borrow against the asset to get a new asset. And so more advanced type of stuff that I'm talking about there, but you can maximize and use leverage to grow your money for you. And then finally, it's sharpening your habits with knowledge and skills and doing what you guys are doing here, being part of a finance club, learning about money. Whatever we put our mind on, whatever we study tends to grow in our future. And so if you're studying finance, if you're watering your mind with ideas and successful strategies, what's likely to happen in your future? That tree is going to grow, whatever tree you're watering in your mind. If you're watching Jeopardy all night, you're going to get really good at Jeopardy, but your finances probably aren't going to do so good. So depending on what you're watching. And so that brings us to cash flow, and that's what we're going to be talking about mostly today, cash flow and budgeting. When it comes to cash flow, there's the mindset is so important, and we have mindsets of those people that waste money, the mindset of the middle class, and the mindset of the wealthy. And it's different, believe it or not, between the three different people. And so this is the way that, if you study Robert Kiyosaki right here, the way that like people who don't study, wealth wasters, people who just spend what they're earning, waste their money. Money comes in the form of income, right here, and then what they do is they go out and they buy stuff, and they spend their money on their expenses, and out their money goes. So money comes in the form of income. We pay our bills. If there's anything left over, we're buying food, we're buying some clothes, we're buying stuff. At the end of the month, guess how much money is left over for most people in the world, in America? Zero. Because they spend what they earn month after month after month after month. And each one of us in this room is going to earn well over $1 million in our life. Even $40,000 a year for 40 years of your life is $1.6 million. It's not what you're making, it's what you're doing with what you're making that's going to make all the difference. And this is not what to do with your money. Now, middle class, they're making more money. So, they've got nice jobs, they're earning $100,000, $200,000. What do? Their money comes in, and then what they go out and they buy liabilities. Liabilities meaning cars, motorcycles, RVs, They buy a second home could be an asset. They spend money on credit cards. They buy furniture. I talk to these clients all the time. I work with them. They're my clients. One is buying a boat today. He wants to buy a mini yacht for his wife. He's got a lot of money, but that's what the middle class does. They buy things when they get money because they feel like they can afford it. But liabilities means what? Expenses. That means a monthly payment that you have to keep making, and that's a burden on you. And that means the expenses takes your money and out your money goes. And guess what the middle class ends up with at the end of every month most of the time? Nothing, because they're doing the same thing. They just have bigger bills. I meet two families. They both have 3 kids. They both have their kids in school. One family is spending $120,000 a year on their expenses. The other family is spending $200,000 a year. But one just has horseback riding lessons or other things for their daughter, where this one didn't. And it's just more stuff. But they both are the exact same thing. It's the same situation, just two different, and they all justify it. They have to spend it on this. I've got to do it. I need to. It's like their mindset grows to whatever their income is. And what we have to do if we want to be successful with money is spend less than we earn. Have that mindset, 70% less. If you're making $100,000 a year, spend $70,000 and invest 30. Do something with the 30, 10% tithe, 10% to charity, 10% to your investments, or 10% to equities and 10% to speculation. Whatever you want to do, whatever you're into. And so this is what they do. They pay bills, they buy liabilities, they dine out frequently, they spend money on leisure and clothes and luxury items, and there's always something new to buy at the end of the month that uses up their investable surplus. That's middle class. Here's what the wealthy do. They take their income, whatever their money is, and with their income, instead of buying liabilities, they buy assets. I think we had someone in the back talk about that earlier. Assets are things that generate more income, and then with more income, you buy more assets. You buy, and then you get more income, and you get the idea. So what are the form of some assets that you could buy? Any thoughts? They're right there, but you could. Yeah. Mutual funds, you can put in your 401k. I don't have crypto on here. That could be considered speculation, but also an asset. So where are you putting your money? What are you doing with it? But something that produces income for you. Could be a business. You could start a business that generates recurring revenue. And that's an asset as well that can be sold later on. So the idea is that we're making wise decisions. And so I want to stop here for a second and just lock this one in. That in our mind, we're spending less than we're earning, and we're taking that surplus and investing it in assets. And now how do we get that investable surplus? We do that by budgeting. And so this is the why. And that $1 million retirement, but what are the tips, or what are tips, or how do we help budget? And so that's what we're really going to be spending a little bit more time on here. And so what they do is they pay themselves first, the wealthy. I make $100,000, I take 10% out, and I put it right into my assets. Now I have $90,000 left. Now I pay my bills, buy my things, go out to dinner, do whatever. But you're always paying yourself first, whatever that percentage is that you want to be doing. So you have one of these worksheets right here. This is going to get us into cash flow. And this is our own individual cash flow. Hopefully you have a pen. If you don't, just do your best to kind of follow along, or maybe you can figure it out on your phone. But what we want to do is take a look at each month. And I don't know exactly what a month is like for each one of you. I know my traditional clients, we have a lot of common bills, rent and car payments and house payments and insurance payments and health insurance and HOA and all sorts of stuff. And so that's in college, some of us we don't even have income yet, or, what does our budget look like? And so what we want to do today is kind of build an avatar of a college student where you guys are right now, and then, look just a little bit forward. And so we're going to take just a couple minutes for you to kind of think through what income do you have coming in right now, and you'll list your income sources right there on the top. And then what expenses do you have, and you'll list those right here. And those are expenses that are fixed expenses. Like every single month you have to make a payment, a car payment, or an auto payment, or that was the same thing. A car payment, a cell phone bill, maybe there's a Netflix account, something every single month you've got these bills as recurring. They're liabilities. You have to pay them every single month. And then there's budgeted items. And we'll have that on the back side of this. It'll say like budgeted items. And those are things like, I'm going to budget so much money for groceries. I'm going to budget so much money for entertainment. I'm going to budget so much money for whatever that is that you have, your hobby. And so you have your fixed bills, and then you have your budgeted items. And we want to put all that together and come up with our plan. And then so you guys have about 3 minutes to do that, 5 minutes. Just really quickly run through that. One thing I didn't mention earlier is that not only are we doing this class here and in physical locations all around the valley, we've also been doing classes, financial training classes like this on our TikTok channel, on our YouTube channel, and on other channels. So far this year in 2021, we have about 6.5 million views off our TikTok channel, and I think we're about 30 or 40,000 on our YouTube. And we have videos on this subject matter. So if you want more of this, if you're watching on YouTube, you can go to TikTok/BrightWealth or search BrightWealth on TikTok. And we have maybe 5 or 6 or 7 classes in a playlist called Budgeting right on our TikTok channel. They're little 1-minute videos, and there's even a template, a spreadsheet that you can download that allows you to build a budget right online. And so that's all on our channel, and you can just download that right off of there. So someone that's already figured out the income, tell me what your income is and where's it coming from? I'm curious. Like, what kind of jobs do we have, if any? Yeah, 9, 16, 18. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then 1,800. Okay, and then what else? Photography. Okay, so you have your own business. And what do you earn on that? $75 a week? So another, yeah, 300. Or we'll come over here, 75 per week. Okay, so you're earning $2,100 a month. Anyone else have another type of an income that we're earning? Yeah, what do you have? Videography. So you're doing video for, okay, and what are you earning on that? $2,000 a month, great. So that's awesome. Anyone else doing? So we're about the same. I'm going to class that photo/video. Who else has a job? Am I the only one that was just drinking in college? Like, who's doing like $2,000 when you're in college earning money? That's awesome. I think I was working at Video Concepts making like, I don't know, $5 an hour or something. I didn't have the drive or the vision that you guys have. I was creating skydiving clubs in college, not doing finance clubs. What about expenses? What kind of expenses do you guys have? What are common expenses that you're paying right now? Yeah. What is that? Chegg? C-H-E-G, I don't know what that is, but G? Okay. How much is that? $14 a week? 15 a week? A month. So 15 a month? Okay. What else? What's another bill? Yeah. So you're buying music online? Spotify, how much are you spending there? Is that a subscription or is that, that's a subscription? Okay, so we got spots, so we got music. That's $6 a month. All right, what else do we have? Yeah, especially if you're putting money into a cash value insurance and you're specifically putting it into the cash value, that could be classified differently. But if it's like a term policy or if it's just paying for the insurance itself. So what's your premium on your insurance? $40 a month. So you have insurance? And this is helping me understand how college students do this, like what's going on in your world. What are some other expenses? Yeah. Tuition. So you're paying your own tuition and not using student loans, or?
No, I have scholarships and like bachelor, but no student loans.
0 student loans. Okay, so we have tuition. That's a big one. $560 a month. How are you? Are you working to pay that now?
I work over the summer, but right now I'm splitting the payment with my dad's stuff.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Way to go. Yeah. Yeah. We know some people with some big student loans. It's the number one asset of America is the student loan debt, by the way, just so you know. All right. What's another one? What's another expense you guys have? Prime. I thought you said crime. I'm like, what?
I did say crime.
So Prime is a video. Okay. I thought this was going to be different. What else is going on? Anyone have a car payment? You have a car payment? What's your car payment?
$275 a month.
So you have a car. All right. So you got a car. $275. And then what else do we have going on? Anyone have a house payment or a rent, or is that just part of the school? Part? Let's see here. Cell phone bill? You pay your cell phone? Okay, what are we paying? What's an average What are you guys paying for yourself? 20? And what's yours? 50. So somewhere between 20 and 50. So we have cell. Somewhere between 20 and 50. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. What we're doing, though, is you get the idea, is we figure out our income, we figure out our regular expenses, and then what about budgeting? What about groceries? How much do we budget for groceries each month? Do you guys do that or no? Is it just all here in the cafeteria? Yeah. $150 a month for groceries. So then we've got our budgeted items. We got $150 for groceries. We'll just put a line here. What's another budgeted item that we're saving money for? Like entertainment, gas? Yeah, like auto gas, like for your car. How much do you budget for that? 30 a week or a month or? Like what's it cost to fill up your tank? 70 a month, okay. Okay. What else do we have? So the idea of this exercise is as we start going through this, I can't tell you, especially folks later in life, how they start going, holy crap, I'm spending a lot of money on a lot of stuff. And they start realizing all this money. And if you imagine it, you make $100,000 this year and you spend, or $30,000 this year, and you spend it all on this and there's nothing left over, you're literally just funding your lifestyle. You're just funding all this stuff and you're doing nothing for your future. Did you have one back there, another expense, or was that just, okay, I wasn't sure. Okay, so that's the idea. And so what I want to do right now is take a look at, and you have this worksheet right here, but I would encourage each of you to figure out your income and your expenses and make sure all of these expenses are less than your income, especially once you're employed. And I know some of us were in college, it's a whole different world. Parents might be paying, we might have money given to us. It's different. But once you start entering into the real world and you graduate and you're earning an income, starting right off the bat, making sure if you're getting a $40,000 a year job or an $80,000 a year job that you're saving and then paying yourself first. And that should be the first item on here under expense or a different place, but is to pay yourself first. If you're earning this money up here, then before Chegg comes, pay myself first. And you put 10% of that away. So if it's $2,000, you're putting $200 a month away. And then whatever's left over goes to that stuff. Does that make sense? Okay. So now what I want to do is take a look at an average a month. And that's what this worksheet right here is for. And if you're on YouTube, just send us a direct message or a comment, and we'll go ahead and forward the worksheets to you that we've been using. On here, what we're noticing is like an average month, and we have different categories. Now, there's software like Quicken and apps like Mint and lots of other apps that will help you do this. But this is like a manual way of looking at it. And what I want to do is walk through. We already did this stuff. Let's come. And so this is what we have right here. And you'll notice there's different categories like save and invest, housing, utilities, insurance, personal care, food. You get the idea. You want to go through here now and just kind of fill out where are your expenses. And so take a look at your form and fill out all the items that we were just talking about over here. Put them into their categories on this right here. And that's what we're doing now. What we're doing is we're sort of planning out an ideal month looking forward. And so at the top, you figure out your income, and that's what goes on right up here. So let's say on this one we're making $6,000 a year, and this was February of 2021. That's the wrong month, but let's go ahead and take a look. What are you going to do with that $6,000? Or if it's $2,000 or $1,800 or whatever it is you're making this month, let's figure out where do you want your money to go. And that's the idea. And so what percentages to go in each category. So here we're taking 15% of income and putting that away towards our investments, whether that's a 401k or an emergency fund or some sort of IRA, if we have an IRA for ourselves because we don't have a 401k, that's where you would put that. And that would be the first payment that you would make. So that would leave out of the $6,000, now you'd have $5,100 left for your month. And the idea is, when you're first getting started, is you plan out your next month ahead of time. So you know where your money is going to go next month. And if you know what your income is going to be, then you'll know what your surplus should be, and you'll know when you can invest. So there's our $900 to invest, our $1,795, which is 30% for our house. And then we fill out the rest. You get the idea. It all lists down. And then at the end, when we subtotal up everything that we're spending, if we have money left over, in this case, we have $1,034 left over, what do we do with it? And so do you go take that money that's left over now and spend it on personal care and personal items? Or do you pay down debts, which would boost your net worth? Or do you invest with it, which would boost your net worth? And so taking that surplus money and putting it in one of these two areas is going to build your net worth. Every other area besides those two boxes on this form right here is you flushing your money down the toilet, if you will. No matter what you make in, every other item here, you just get stuff and your money goes away. If you put your money here, you're building your assets. If you put your money here, you're reducing your liabilities. Both of those build your net worth. Make sense? All right. And that is the 5 rules of wealth, running through paying yourself first to compound your money, protect your investments so that they don't get lost, hedge against inflation or whatever your risks are that are out there, maximize safe leverage when possible, and keep understanding your knowledge. And if you work through all this, you're likely to achieve greater financial success in your life. Now, at this point, who's currently investing? What are you guys doing? Like, what's happening? Tell me what's going on in the life. Yeah, okay. ETFs? Okay, and are you investing in like a TD Ameritrade account or Charles Schwab or same thing, but Vanguard? Okay. And now you're making $2,200 a month. I forgot what that was.
Yeah, well, the higher fees vary. Well, we had a really good month.
Okay.
That was
Last month, and then you put money into the market?
yeah.
And what ETFs? Are you just buying like a total market or?
Total market and S&P 500.
Okay.
Also, BDE, which is like energy market.
Okay. So you're buying that. What else is going on? Who else is investing? That's congratulations. Yeah, okay.
I'm looking for like stocks, and I haven't found myself diving into crypto a lot these last 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so I like, for the stock side, I like more of the tech, so Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google, and whatnot.
Okay.
And then for crypto, I really just been getting into more of like staking.
Staking?
Yeah.
Okay. Guaranteed return on your. And our currency, what currency are you staking or which are you holding?
For those, I'm looking at Olympus Dow, it's like a common one.
Okay.
I've done research on, so I have a lot into that one, and then into another one called Strong.
Okay. Out of curiosity, who else is investing in crypto? A few more. Okay. So what are you? Okay. Tell me what's going on. This is interesting to see. Bitcoin. Just buying Bitcoin. And what exchange are you using? What exchange are you using? Coinbase. Okay. And then you.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I had Dogecoin from like a while back. I just never sold it.
You didn't sell.
Yeah.
Are you gonna sell?
I don't know. But I mean, I've honestly probably over 50% of my accounts in crypto, which is not smart, but I'm
Fair.
just playing around with it.
Sure. All right. What else is going on? Yeah.
I like ETFs as well.
Okay.
S&P 500.
Okay.
I'm also liking periods of higher inflation banking, digital payments. So JP Morgan, Square. I'm liking solar ETFs and electric vehicle ETFs.
Okay. And okay, great. And how's it working out? Like, how is your year turning out so far? Are you tracking your growth rate?
Yeah.
I love being in this class. You have no idea. I meet guys that have 401ks they've been investing in for 10 years, and I'm like, what'd you earn last year? And they don't know what their 401k earned. I'm like, are you watching your investments? Here we are. So, okay, I want to ask about returns also. I'll come back to that. There was one more crypto over here too, I think, wasn't there? Or no, was that it? Okay. So what are average returns? What have you guys been doing this year? Tell me how's the results been? Better or worse than the S&P 500? Better? Anyone else investing over here? Are you guys just quiet, or is this all new, or no? Okay. How hard is it to open up an investment account? Who's opened up an IRA, or are you investing in an IRA, I guess, on these, or what are you? Is it a 401k, or where are you? Just a brokerage account?
Vanguard ETFs.
Just a brokerage account, okay.
Yeah, because IRAs are locked in until
59 and a half.
it's not even hours.
Right. The advantage of the IRA is you get the tax-free growth. The disadvantage is your money is locked. So a Roth IRA is great for you guys because you get the tax-free growth plus you get the tax-free distribution. But that stuff doesn't mean so much right now. I know that, but it does mean a lot down the road. What about rates of return? How are you guys doing? Is it just total market, or do you know what you're doing? Or yeah,
I have 37%.
for this year?
Well, that's just my year to date.
Congratulations on that. That's awesome. That's a great return. We have guys on my TikTok channel or YouTube channel flaming me, telling me that when I say a 7% growth rate on one of our estimates, that where are you going to get 7%? I'm like, where wouldn't you get 7%? Like, are you buying like CDs or something? Like, what are you, like what's going on? So, but I can't say certain things, you know. I personally like Roth IRAs and IRAs and qualified accounts because we do active trading. So we're trading our clients' accounts every single month. So on part of the portfolio, we're incurring short-term gains, which equals earned income at the end of the year. So they have to pay tax on that. But if it's in an IRA or a Roth, then we don't have to pay the taxes. So it's great. You could day trade inside a Roth or day trade. You know, you can make all your trades and you're not paying the gains on it. So one of the things that's nice, that's a way to protect against loss, is to avoid paying the taxes. Another way is you don't take the gains on your asset, you borrow against your asset and then buy something else and continue buying and leveraging like that. And so there's strategy. If you're going to do that, I would study Robert Kiyosaki. Any questions from anyone in here today? You know, kind of running through, we're kind of coming towards the end here. Any questions or anything before we end? How do you guys feel about today's workshop? Was there value here? Was this worth being here? Or was it like kind of remedial? It was good? We're getting thumbs up? Okay, good deal. I always want to make sure I'm kind of matching. I could go very deep or very general. I felt this was general for a finance, but I wanted to be, you know, do the budgeting and kind of cover that. So appreciate it. If there's any questions, you guys can let me know. I'm going to be up here for a few minutes, but that's pretty much it. So thanks for coming out, and you know, be sure to tune into our YouTube channel and our TikTok channel. We got videos all the time. Thanks, guys.